RNLI reindeer runs. Macmillan organised the Mighty Hike. British Heart Foundation was something like Race for Life. Cancer Research are responsible for delivering that event. They have to manage all of that. They are legally responsible for it. Hi, my name is Emily Foster. I'm currently a campaign manager at the RNLI. Previously, I was an event manager for the RNLI for about 7 years. Towards the end of that, spent 3 years developing a new role for the charity, which was an event business partner. So today I'm here to talk to you about charity events. We're going to start on some charity events types. This isn't a finite list across the charity sector, but I would say this is your kind of headline list that you may be working with in charity events. Before we get into what that list is, if I could teach anybody entering into the charity events sector anything, I would start with what I call FEO and FOBO events. Horrible acronyms. They stand for fundraising in aid of and fundraising on behalf of. They are fundamentally different meanings for charity events types. They have legal differences in terms of their implications. They have different responsibilities in terms of what the charity is responsible for with those events. They have different governance. They need to be managed differently. Really key to understand the difference between fundraising in aid of and fundraising on behalf of. I'm going to give it to you in a nutshell, but if you are interested in looking at these events in the future, go and learn this and learn it inside out, because sometimes there's great big grey areas in between, and you as the events manager really need to be able to understand what those differences are and where the lines are between it being an on behalf of or in an aid of. A fundraising in aid of typically will be something like, I've gone and climbed Kilimanjaro on behalf of this charity. I'm going to fundraise and then give this money to the charity after I've done it. You've gone and taken part in an event that is a third-party event. It's organised by a different organisation. You've gone and kindly fundraised loads of money for that charity and you've handed it over afterwards. A similar example would be London Marathon. Most runners run on behalf of a charity. The whole run is organised by Virgin London Marathon, but they can fundraise on behalf of a charity. So the charity doesn't have any responsibility for the marathon itself, but you will receive the funds that that runner generates. All lovely because somebody else is ultimately responsible for those events. You have a duty of care still with fundraising and aid of events. So there is a stewardship you need to consider in terms of how you're going to look after those people. So with the London Marathon, they may have said to you, we're really hoping to fundraise in aid of you. And you want to look after those people as best you can in lead up to their event. So that might be giving them fitness tips. It might be sending them a running shirt. It could be anything like that. And that would be true of any kind of active event. Another really lovely example of a fantastic fundraising and aid of event is the Macmillan Coffee Mornings. Interestingly, the most successful charity event in this country. Really simple idea. Macmillan handle it fantastically well. You register for a coffee morning, they send you a pack. They are not responsible for your coffee morning, you are, but they're going to receive the funds that you generate when you hold that coffee morning in aid of them. The big difference between that and a fundraising on behalf of, the charity have organised it themselves. So a good example for this would be something like Race for Life. In RNLI world, it would be our RNLI reindeer runs. Macmillan organised the Mighty Hike. British Heart Foundation, they generate lots of sporting events as well. So there's lots of examples across the charity sector of fundraising and aid of events versus those fundraising on behalf of events. But as you can imagine with something like Race for Life, Cancer Research are responsible for delivering that event. They have their own events team. They have to manage all of that. They are legally responsible for it. They have to govern it. They need to do all of those things. It's not like a fundraising in aid of. So be very, very clear about those two differences. I've just given it to you in a nutshell. But as you can appreciate, as you start getting into charity events, there's lots of examples of very, very grey areas around that. And you certainly don't want to have an event taking place where you're not sure if you're responsible for it or not. Moving on to kind of the different charity event types that I would call fundraising on behalf of, so events that take place within the charity, they are managed by the charity, they're responsible for them. Got a really huge range between things like corporate events, so there's often corporate partners, so that might be about educating those corporate partners on what you do, trying to get their buy-in for your charity, or it might be engaging those people. You've also got naturally fundraising events, which most people would have seen a fundraising event of some kind in the past. They can be, whilst they might seem kind of soft and fluffy on the outside, they can be really challenging to organise and on a really big scale. Any kind of big sporting fundraising event is going to bring its own challenges. So thank you so much for watching today. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you about my background in events and the charity sector and what the key topics are going on at the moment. Really best of luck getting into the event industry. I really hope to bump into you one day out on a live event.